All right, there's a new head man in the desert. The Phoenix Suns tapping former Lakers head coach and NBA champion Frank Vogel to lead their squad to the promised land. Kind of a surprising move here by the Suns. I don't think many people had Frank Vogel on their radar to lead this organization and take over as the head coaching job. Now, he's got a big responsibility in front of him. He's only got the tall task of leading Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to the first NBA championship for the Phoenix Suns. I don't envy the man, but then again, I don't feel too bad for him. There's a lot going against him with this team, and new owner Matt Ishbia is trying to make a splash. He is all in on this team. They traded for Kevin Durant in the middle of this past season. They ended up falling short in the Western Conference semifinals to eventual Western Conference champion, potential finals champion, Denver Nuggets in a swift 6 games. It really didn't feel that competitive. It felt like there was a large gap between them and the Nuggets, and they fired head coach Monty Williams. He was not getting the job done for them, and I like this move. I think Frank Vogel is a very underrated coach. Say what you want about him. He's got a .526 career winning percentage, which is not bad, all things considered, in the NBA. He got that title in the bubble with AD and LeBron. Oh, you can bitch and complain about the bubble. Hey, man, everybody had to go there. Everybody had to play there. And the Lakers were the number 1 team in the NBA when the league shut down in March. So let's not act like they weren't having a great season and they got it done when everyone else couldn't. And let's think back to those Pacer teams, man. He got playoff P and Roy friggin' Hibbert to win a shit ton of games in the postseason, just ultimately getting stopped by those Miami Heat teams with LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. So I think Frank Vogel is a very underrated coach. Now, it ultimately flamed out in LA, was okay there, was 127-98 in his stint as head coach for the Lakers. You would expect better, but man, that team was very much decimated, trading for AD, losing pieces to free agency, injuries, this, that, and I think he was ultimately the fall man for a terrible business decision. GM move by LeBron to sign Russell Westbrook. We see them get rid of Russell Westbrook this year, and they end up having a nice run to the Western Conference Finals. So I think Frank Vogel was unfortunately the fall man in LA. Hey, and the stakes are high in LA. You got to win. And it seems like the stakes are getting high in Phoenix. They want to be that competitive team. And let's break it down for you here. You got Devin Booker. You got Kevin Durant. You got 2 of the best players in the NBA. Now, Durant's getting up there in age. You still have contract control for him for another few years. The same with Booker. Booker's in the prime of his career. He was fantastic for a lot of this playoffs. I am a little bit concerned that back-to-back elimination games this season at home, he's been absolutely terrible, and the Suns have been blown off the court. So that is a little bit concerning for me. Kevin Durant obviously has injury issues. Only played 20 games this season, I believe, for the Suns, and he was 19-0, and then they started losing. It was a real, didn't get that time in with the team. Chris Paul, another injury in the playoffs. He's a million years old. It's going to be a real question what this team is going to do with this roster moving forward. Seems like they don't really love DeAndre Ayton, but man, Frank Vogel got the most out of Anthony Davis, and we see him go up and down, this, that, and the other, and he got AD playing elite basketball in 2020, so maybe he can help Ayton take that next step that they're really wanting him to, or maybe it's an attitude problem, a conflict of personalities in that locker room. This is Devin Booker's team, and words what I read is Devin Booker doesn't really like him. Chris Paul likes nobody, so I'm not surprised by that, and Kevin Durant just wants to hoop. So I really think it's going to be Devin Booker making the calls on what this roster is going to do. I would be concerned here. They got dominated by the Clippers when healthy with Kawhi Leonard and no Paul George. Kawhi goes down, that series goes away, and then they get absolutely run through, it felt like, against the Nuggets. It didn't feel as close as 6 games, so I don't know how close the Suns team are. They're a long way off from a team that was up 2-0 in the NBA Finals just 2 seasons ago. They've really felt like they've taken a step back. They made the splash for Durant. I'm not a big Kevin Durant fan, I'm gonna be honest. He's a great basketball player. Now, he fits in with this team that he doesn't have to be that leader to carry the load. That's going to be on Devin Booker, unfortunately, where he was great in this postseason for times, really shook some of the narrative, how lights out he was. But again, crunch time, elimination game at home, must win, blown off the court, and bad games from him. So I think this is a tall task for Frank Vogel. I actually personally think this is a good hire for them. I think this is a good fit. I think this makes the Suns very interesting in the playoffs next season and throughout the season. You know, the West is so stacked with so many good teams. But who were the Suns everyone talking about? There was a lot of rumors who were the Suns gonna hire here talking Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse said he chose between the Suns and the Sixers. He was offered this job. They were saying no way. He ended up taking the Sixers job. But my man Bill Simmons had to eat crow on this one for weeks. My guy Bill Simmons said it was Kevin Young. Kevin Young was going to be the guy in Phoenix. He's a big Devin Booker's a big Kevin Young guy. He was going to get the promotion. He was already on the bench, associate head coach in Phoenix. But eat that crow, Bill Simmons. Eat that crow. Real bad. But he ate it. He said he'll take the L. He said it was definitely Kevin Young. You know, Booker was pushing for him, but Ishba wanted to make a splash your name, big name. He changed gears, which makes sense. Frank Vogel is kind of the bigger name out there. Let's talk contract for Frank. $31 million over 5 years, so it's going to be about $6.2 million a year compared to what they were paying Monty Williams at $13 million a year. So that's half price, man. Anytime an owner can save money like that, I'm going to feel good. And I don't think there's much of a difference between Frank Vogel and Monty Williams. And in fact, Frank Vogel has proven himself much more in the postseason than Monty Williams has, obviously not living up to what the Suns have needed to get done. I think Monty Williams is a good head coach. He's now in Detroit. He's the perfect guy to take a floundering bad franchise and get them into that postseason, get them into winning basketball. But maybe he's not that guy to take you to that championship set. We see that all the time with coaches in the NBA. They can get bad teams to playoff teams, but it really takes something special to take playoff teams into champions. You know, it's a very tough job to get. So Bill Simmons, I appreciate you eating crow on that one. Frank Vogel, the new head man in Phoenix. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.